Okay, question number 1. In the proportion, the difference between the two ratios 50 is to 1,000 and 375 is to 5,000 is A, 125, B, 250, C, 325, D, 4,000. So the first question is a simple math question. So nothing is complicated here. Just to solve any math question, we need to work with fractions first. So what do? This problem involves finding the difference between two ratios. So first is to how convert the ratios into fractions. So for 50 is to 1,000, meaning 50 divided by 1,000. That gives you how much? 1 over 20.
200.
Mm.
200.
Mm-hmm. Okay, convert the ratios into fractions. So for the 375, okay, is to 5,000, meaning this one, 375 over 5,000. That will give you 3 over 4. Okay, the first was 50 over 1,000, meaning 50 divided by 1,000. So that will give you 1 over 20. Find the common denominator to subtract the fractions. So our LCD, the least common denominator for 20 and 40 is what? 20 and 40. LCD is 40. Okay, so that will give us 2 over 40. Okay. Next will be subtract the fractions. Okay, we will do the subtraction. So 3 over 40 from here, 3 over 40 minus 2 over 40. That gives you how much? 1 over 40, right? Then convert the result back into decimal or simplified form. So 140 times 5,000. That will give you how much? 1 over 40 times 5,000. Okay, that will give us 125. So letter A is the correct answer. Okay, next will be number 2. You are preparing a report to present to the Public Health Council on the declining rates of gonorrhea in your state in both men and women over the last 10 years. Which type of graph would be illustrate the data? A, bar chart, B, histogram, C, pie chart, D, line graph. So choose the right graph for the data over time. What's the answer here? What's the answer? You are
Line
preparing
graph.
a report, huh? Line graph? Yes, that's the correct answer. Very good, Radha. Okay, here you are preparing a report to present to the Planning Council about orientation courses that haven't been held over the past year. So now anything that tracks data over time needs a, what kind of data graph? It's a continuous. Okay, so which graph should we use? It's the line chart. Because when we say control chart, if which graph should we use? Control chart, if available. So control chart will be the best. Okay, will be the best first choice. Okay, but if control chart is not an option, then line, okay, is the best pick. Okay, don't be confused. Number 3, prior to plotting a line graph, a healthcare quality professional should first A, calculate the mean, B, define the axis measurements, C, identify the parameters, D, develop a legend. Okay, in here, the question is to designing an axis for a chart. What is your answer? What is the first thing you do? What is the first thing you do when planning a data section chart? Okay, the first thing is not just identifying causes. Okay, first you need to design the, yes?
Parameters.
No, Dr.
Identify the
Gulam?
parameters.
No, Radha.
Axis
Okay.
measurement.
Okay.
Axis measurement.
Okay, Radha, the correct answer here is define the axis
Axis.
measurement. Yes. The first thing is not just identifying causes, okay? First is you need to design the X and Y axis. Why? Because you need,
Okay.
Dr. Gulam, this is the
Yes.
answer
Yeah.
of your question last time. Because you need to define what is on the X axis, which can be time or categories, okay?
Yeah.
For the Y axis, okay, these are values, percentages, okay? Is it clear now, Dr. Gulam?
Yeah.
Radha? So then you'll determine if the data is displayed over days, months, or years in the X axis. This one came out in the examination. So the correct answer is define the axis measurement. Okay, let's proceed. Percentages of a distribution of values that are equal to or below that number are known as A, percentiles, B, quartiles, C, prevalence, D, rates. Okay, what's the answer here? Okay, the question asking here, percentage distribution of values that are equal to or less than the number. What does the question mean? The meaning of the question is that it is telling the distribution of values, which is the distribution values that are equal to or less than this number, meaning it is equal to or less than this value. So if I come to say that when we are explaining the interpercentile or interquartile, we said we want the interquartile, okay? So it is the value in the middle here. So this is the first quarter, okay, first quarter, and the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth. And when we came to say that in order to measure the interquartile, I subtract the third quarter, okay? We came to say in order to measure the interquartile, I subtract the third quarter, which is the quarter 3, minus 2, quarter 1 here, which is the first quarter. Okay? So if I call the quartile, meaning when I have the data and I divide it into 4 equal parts. First quartile, second quartile, third quartile, and fourth quartile. Then I have divided into quarters. So this is called the quartiles. Okay, this is the quartiles. Now, what does the question mean? The part that says are equal to or less than the number means that when I say the percentage of the fifth quartile, meaning it means that it expresses the values of the data at this 50th point and everything before it. So when I say the data is divided into quarters, I call it what? Quartile. When it is divided into percentages, I call it percentiles.
Percentiles.
Now, in the question, what does it says? It says percentage of distribution of values. Percentage means divided by percent, by 1%, 5%, 10%, up to 99%. So what is this called? It is called percentile. So I will not choose the quartile because I will choose the percentile. So in this question between A, B, C, and D, whichever is unrelated. So it is divided into percentile or quartiles. So in here, it is divided into percentiles.
Percentile.
Yes, so that's the correct answer. Number 5, in a trial comparing two drugs to treat children suffering from enuresis, the average number of dry nights was recorded in each of the two children groups. Which of the following statistical test is most appropriate for analyzing the results? A, chi-square test. B, paired t-test. C, student t-test. D, correlation coefficient. The question here is, which statistical test should be used to analyze the average number of dry nights per month for four groups? What's the answer? What's the answer?
This is student test.
It's the student t-test. Yes, it's correct. You're correct. Okay, that's the correct answer. So, as it says here, a continuous data, so we will use the t-test. If the data is categorical, so we will use the chi-square. The keyword here is average number. So when we say average, it means mean, M-E-A-N, in the normal distribution, which means it's a continuous data. That means we need a t-test for the average. So that is the reason we need the student t-test. Okay, for the paired and versus the independent t-test. When we say paired t-test, used when comparing the same group before and after treatment. Okay, usually this one can be is used in experimental research study, paired t-test. We have also the independent t-test or the two sample t-test used when comparing two different groups. Since we are comparing two separate groups, so the answer would be in the independent t-test. For the three samples categorical, we use the ANOVA. Okay, so the answer here will be the student t-test. Number 6, okay, a cohort study, A, often requires a long-term follow-up. B, principally relies on case reports. C, involves limited sample sizes. D, represents a systematic review of several randomized trials. What's the answer? Cohort? The study follows participants over time. What's the answer? When we say case control study, it starts with the disease, the outcome, and looks backward to find causes. I hope you could still remember my example before, looking at the lung cancer patients and investigating whether they smoked or not. What about the cohort study? It starts with exposure and follows participants over time. So for example, following smokers and non-smokers to see who develops lung cancer. So the correct answer is cohort study because it tracks subjects over time. So letter A is the correct answer. Often requires a long-term follow-up. Okay, that's the answer. Number 7, the surgery department's monthly case review revealed 10 records meeting criteria. 6 records did not meet the criteria. In calculating the incidence rate, the denominator is A, 4, B, 6, C, 10, D, 16. The question is asking for the denominator when calculating the incidence report. So the incidence rate is typically calculated as, what's the formula? Incidence rate is equals to number of new cases over total number of case reviewed times 100. So what's the answer? How
6.
many? How many new cases in the statement? Okay,
This
so
is
we have
16.
10. We have 10
16.
record. Yes, the answer is 16. Very good. Okay, 10 records met the criteria, which are the new cases and plus records that did not meet the criteria. So the denominator is the total number of cases reviewed, which is 10 plus 6 is equals to 16. That's the correct answer, 16. Okay, Radha, are you with us?
Yeah.
Okay, number 8, the success of a customer focus group rests principally on the A, group size, B, length of meeting, C, opinions of the group, D, skill of the moderator. What determines the success of a focus group research study? What is a focus group? What is a focus group? It is a qualitative data collection method where a small group which composed of 6 to 10 people is selected and participants share a common background or experience, like same diagnosis, same work environment. A moderator conducts interviews and discussions. What is the key factor here among the four for success? Is it the group size? Is it the length of meeting, opinions of the group, or skill of the moderator?
Skill of the moderator.
C.
Very good. Radha, it's skill of the moderator, my dear, because this is the key factor. Because the skill of the moderator, their ability to facilitate discussion effectively determines the study outcome. Okay? Don't forget skill of the moderator. Number 9, which one should be included when reporting project improvement to governing body? A, team achievements. B, team minutes, C, occurrence and incident reports. Okay. What is the best choice?
Team achievements.
Rad-
Team achievements.
Radha?
Yeah,
What?
team achievement.
Very good. Excellent. Both of you are excellent. Yes, that's the answer. The best choice. Okay. That's the correct answer. Number 10, what can the Quality Council provide to ensure highest efficiency of a performance improvement team? A, facilitator and recorder. B, empowerment and training. C, physician sponsor and nurse team leader. D, computer software and broadband internet access. What's the answer here?
Yeah.
Why letter
Yeah.
A? Why letter A? Because the question is asking what helps ensure the effectiveness of a permanent team. This is the meaning of the question. What helps ensure the effectiveness of a permanent team? Okay.
Empowerment and training. Na?
Yes, that's the correct answer. Because empowering team members increases productivity and problem-solving skills. When members feel responsible and engaged, they are more motivated to make decisions and contribute. So that's the reason. Number 11. Give conclusions to this graph. A, the highest length of stay is in the last quarter. Or B, it is needed to have the value of standard deviation to know if process is within control or not. What's the answer? Okay, for letter A, the explanation for this, we have a question like about the highest steady rate in the last quarter. So let's check the last quarter here, which runs from September until December. So in September, okay, the rate was low. So we have, how much is this? 3.9, okay? And in October, it went up from 4.9 until 5.4. What about in November? In November, it reached to 6. So in December, it dropped back to 5. Okay. Now we can say the highest steady rate was in the entire last quarter. Can we say that? Can we say the highest steady rate was in the entire last quarter? No. The highest rate was only in November.
December. No, sorry, no.
Yes, in November. Okay, so for example, December was 5, and October was 5.4. So yes, there was an increase, but November had the peak. What about explanation
Yes.
for letter B? Okay, now what do we need here? We need to calculate the standard deviation to check if this process is under control or not. The question here is asking, why do we need to calculate the standard deviation? You use it to determine the upper, lower control limit and the lower control limit. So this data is displayed on what? On a run chart or on a control chart? Is this a run chart or control chart? This is what? This is a run chart because you don't see here any upper control limit or lower control limit. So this is a run chart. Okay. Okay. So next, so to analyze this properly, you need to plot it on a control chart and determine the UCL, which is the 3 standard deviations above the mean. Okay, and determine the LCL, which is 3 standard deviations below the mean. So this helps us understand if the process is in control or if there's a high rate of special causes. So the answer here is what? What this run chart tells us about. It's letter
B.
Final
B.
answer. Final answer, Radha. Dokulam.
B.
Yes.
B?
Yeah,
No.
it's standard
Letter
deviation.
A is the correct answer because this one gives us the fact. This is what the graph tells us that in November, it has November
It
had
was
the peak increase.
5.4.
It has a peak. So this
Highest
tells us the
loads.
true factual, okay, factual representation of the graph. Okay, so can you see here in the first place, this is not a control chart, right? Because you don't see the UCL and you don't see the lower control limit. So go back to the question, give conclusions to this graph. So the conclusion of this graph is the highest length of stay is in the last quarter. So which gives us the true representation of the data. Clear? Is this clear?
Yeah.
Doc Radha, any concern?
Yeah. No, it's okay.
You understand now, Radha?
Yes.
Okay. So, okay. Are you sure you understand well this one? Okay, because in here, in the first place, our chart is not a control chart. This is a run chart. So to analyze the letter B choice is you need to plot it on a control chart. Since our graph here is a run chart. Okay, so number 12. CEO decides to have accreditation to the hospital after 18 months. What should he do? Okay, A, communicate accreditation process to all staff. B, hire external quality expert to give lectures. B, make monthly newsletter.
A.
Yes, it's letter A. Very good. Communicate accreditation process to all staff because this establish clear communication procedures. Very good. Number 13. Hospital using computer software, patient weight recorded by mistake higher than the actual weight. That reflect on medication dose become 10 times the original dose. Nurse noticed this error before administering the medication to the patient. Quality professionals should consider this type of mistake as a sentinel event, be near miss, C claim.
Near miss.
Near miss.
Very good. Okay. Okay, number 14. Number 14, the key practical impetus for JCI accredited healthcare organizations to focus on ongoing compliance with standards is A, the long-term cost savings, B, the attention given to patient safety by the media, C, the coming unannounced triennial surveys, D, the increase in malpractice suits. What's the answer here? So one of the key factors in ensuring continuous compliance with standard is the
Unannounced triennial survey. C.
yes, the presence of unannounced visits by regulatory bodies. So which is letter C, the coming unannounced triennial surveys. Because if non-compliance is found, it results in penalties and higher costs, right? So this forces the organization to maintain a continuous compliance rather than just preparing for the scheduled audits. Okay, number 15. Which of the following is not a part of, which of the following is not one of Joint Commission International Patient Safety Goals? A, prevent healthcare associated pressure ulcers. B, ensure correct site, correct procedure, correct patient surgery. C, improve effective communication. D, reduce the risk of healthcare associated infection. What's the answer? Letter A. Very good. Excellent. Tamam. So what's the goal of, letter A. Reduce the risk of healthcare associated pressure ulcer is not included in the patient safety goals. Tamam. Number 16. Which of the following statements about unannounced surveys by the Joint Commission is true? So, okay, letter A primary goal of unannounced survey is to detect evidence of non-compliance. B, unannounced surveys include initial surveys. C, unannounced surveys reduce the unnecessary cost associated with survey preparation. D, an organization may undergo an unannounced survey between 12 and 24 months after its previous survey.
C.
Letter
C.
Radha. C.
C.
Excellent. What's the goal of unannounced visits by regulatory bodies? Some might say it's to detect non-compliance, but this is incorrect, okay? Because the real goal is to ensure ongoing compliance with standards and procedures. And this also prevent crisis management and just-in-time preparation. And actually, for your information, there are two approaches. So we have just-in-time compliance and the ongoing compliance. When we say just-in-time compliance, organization focused on compliance only during scheduled assessments. And right before accreditation, they rush to meet requirements. This increases the cost and stress. So sometimes requiring overtime work or external consultants. What about the ongoing compliance? Organizations maintain continuous adherence to standards and they avoid sudden last-minute efforts and save costs in the long run. So the primary goal of unannounced visit is not to detect non-compliance, but to ensure that compliance is always maintained. Okay, number 17. Reappointment or recredentialing a hospital accredited by the JCI should be conducted A, annually or more frequently, B, every 2 years or more frequently, C, every 3 years or more frequently, D, on an ongoing basis.
C.
It's a letter, Radha?
C.
B?
C.
C. Excellent. C. So let's look at the reappointment process in the healthcare organizations, okay? How often does JCI accreditation require reevaluation? Every 3 years. Yes, very good. If a healthcare organization is undergoing accreditation, but JCI is not mentioned, how often should it be reviewed? Every how many years? Every 2 years as per general healthcare policies. So in an exam, If JCI is mentioned, choose
3.
very good. If JCI is not mentioned, choose
2.
2.
very
But this is an
good.
international exam. I think they will not mention
Yes.
others. Yeah.
Oh, this one came out in my exam, in the set of my exam. So choose 2 years. Okay? Dokulam and Radha, if
Yeah.
JCI is
Yes.
mentioned, choose 3 years. If JCI is not mentioned, choose 2 years. Tamam?
Yeah.
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 What
Okay.
question they mentioned in your question? Except
Yeah, this one
JCI?
for how many years if JCI is not mentioned?
What
Yeah.
I'm in this question, what is not mentioned apart from JCI? Because sorry, okay, next we'll vote next.
Okay, so for the managed care organizations like the insurance companies, the review period is always 3 years. Okay, for the MCO, like the insurance, the review period is always 3 years. Number 18, Joint Commission surveyors review organizations: A, medical records; B, income taxes; C, credit worthiness; D, physician's PDA.
Medical records.
Okay, Radha?
Yes, medical records.
Very good. Okay. So it's always we look at the medical records. So other agencies like the tax authorities do not play a role in the healthcare accreditation. For number 19, what happened right after a joint commission or accredited hospital experience a sentinel event? A, an award is presented to administrators. B, a root cause analysis is performed. C, immediate reaccreditation is required. D, performance improvement measures are implemented. What
The root
happens
cause.
after accreditation?
Root cause analysis performed.
Aywa, letter B, excellent. So once an organization receives accreditations, what's the next step? Is to conduct a root cause analysis to assess area of improvement. Okay, number 20. To which of the following agencies services would the JCI accreditation program for home healthcare not be applicable? A, private duty nursing agencies; B, high technology services; C, public health agencies; and D, hospital-based home health agency.
C, public health agencies.
Okay, Radha?
Yes, public health agencies.
Okay, yes, that's the correct answer. Which of the following is not covered under JCI home care accreditation standards? So possible options are hospital-based home care services, rehabilitation technology services, and private nursing agencies. So the correct answer here is this letter C, and this is not included in the home care accreditation standards. Okay, so that ends our final quiz number 4 tonight. If you have any question and doubts, please, you can raise it up here.